This is an episode of Storytellers. There's this thing they have called Storytellers. It's normally about important stuff like, I was in downtown Manhattan on 9/11. This on 9/11. This is a less important story. This is a story of watching Jeopardy clips in 2004 or 3 or 5 or something around there. Back in the old days, you couldn't just go on YouTube and find clips of anything and everything. I remember when I was in high school and I listened to the Jeopardy clips of SNL. There was Jeopardy, and I don't know, I've probably watched less than 50 hours of SNL in my life. I've watched very little of it live. I never watched that much SNL. But I watched all the Jeopardy clips. They're funny, because it would be like, I'm Alex Trebek, and then Sean Connery was always so mean. He was always so mean. He's like, Alex Trebek, your mom's a whore, Alex Trebek. He was just always so mean. And then they had the guy from like Third Rock from the Sun, and he was an idiot. And I can't really remember any of the other characters on Jeopardy except for Alex Trebek and Sean Connery. But they had this thing called Winmx, and they had this thing called Kazaa. And you'd go on there and you'd search for shit. You could get music and you could get video clips, but you had to download it. And then when you got it done, you might get what you said you got, or you might just get some random bullshit. Oh, those were the good old days. Before YouTube in 2006 or 7 or 8 or whenever YouTube came out. And then it was like the lottery, and sometimes you'd get what you wanted, and sometimes you'd get shit. And then I got I stole all the SNL clips of Jeopardy from Kazaa or Winmx or some programs. I don't think I used LimeWire. I mean, I heard about LimeWire, I just never really used it, and then I had them in, it'd be like, da 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 da, and then they'd do the little parody of Jeopardy. And then Alex Trebek was always so mean, and he would misread stuff. He'd be like, album covers was like anal bum covers or something. And then it would be like, he would purposefully misread stuff. And then it was like, it was really fun. But, and then in 2007 or 8 or whatever, 9, YouTube came out, and then everybody just uploaded all the Family Guy clips and all the SNL clips. And then YouTube had to cut them out and be like, you have to own it to put it on YouTube. And then they got content cutters. They can go through and they can tell if you're stealing Jeopardy clips. But this story is technically theft. But, I'm technically telling a story about theft. This should technically be cut from YouTube because it's a story. And then Alex Trebek, your mom's a whore. That's basically an SNL. I stole that from SNL, so this should probably be cut from YouTube. But YouTube will let this on because it's a story of me using Winmx and Kazaa to steal audio clips / video clips in like 180p or 90p off Kazaa. And eventually they're going to start cutting stuff like this because you can't show you can't show Jeopardy clips on there, and you shouldn't be able to tell stories about how you stole clips from Kazaa or Winmx, and then you shouldn't be allowed to do impressions. I'm doing an impression of Sean Connery from that show, which means that technically I'm stealing from that show, which means they should probably cut this video off YouTube, which is, it's offensive that YouTube would allow me to do an impression of someone from a TV show from 20 or 30 years ago. So that's my storytelling story about Jeopardy and YouTube and Kazaa and Winmx.